Okay, welcome back, everybody. I just would like to welcome you to our next podcast interview. This is Inside Look, South Jersey Girls Basketball. And today I have a special guest. This is Coach John Considine. He's the head coach of Bishop Eustace Girls Basketball. So I'd like to welcome him to the program. How you doing, Coach?
Good. How are you, Mike? Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, I'm excited to talk to you. I love chit-chatting with you a little bit before the interview. This is great. I would love to have everybody learn a little bit about Eustace. I'm a little partial to Eustace. I graduated there in 1994. It was a great school for me to go to. I made a lot of friends. The school is just fantastic. The community has been really good to me. So this is really special. So I would love to get started. So why don't we just talk about you for right now? Let's talk about where you grew up and about your family.
Thanks. Well, thanks for doing all this. I appreciate you having me. I grew up in Stratford, which I played a lot of sports, and basketball was not even my main sport, but I just loved being around the courts, just playing pickup ball with friends. I have a younger sister. She lives over in Marlton Bayou. Kids will probably go to Cherokee one day. My wife and I live in Haddon Township with our 2 children. We have a 10-year-old son named Jack and a 7-month-old daughter named Bryn. It's been great. I went to Sterling High School, where I know we've had a few coaches on here that have had some Sterling connections with Anthony Corrado and Jackie Mulligan. But I didn't have quite the basketball background as these other coaches. I played a lot of tennis in high school, played some soccer, played some baseball outside of school. But I was fortunate enough to be on a championship team in high school at Sterling, but I was probably the second or last person on the bench, which was fine with me. I was one of those kids that just loved to be on the team, loved to be a part of the program. It was all about helping our team win. I love being a practice player, and that's it.
That's crazy. Well, you know what? I think everybody has their own background, their own starts, but it's brought you back. So you said you played tennis in college. So how did you end up, landing in that area of tennis?
Well, I played a lot of baseball up until about 8th grade, and my neighbor down the street was a tennis teacher, tennis pro somewhere, and my parents asked him to give me some tennis lessons. His name was Rich D'Alessandro. I believe he was the AD at one of the Cherry Hills, Carusi or Beck, for a while, but took me out, gave me a few lessons, and my parents kind of talked me into going out for tennis instead of baseball my first year of high school, and worked my way up varsity ladder pretty fast. And before you knew it, I was playing the top single spot for 4 years, and just enjoyed the competition. I enjoyed baseball as well. I would play baseball. I would play a tennis match, and after the team match was over, I would leave and play a baseball game at night for an Arsenal team or a Babe Ruth team. But I ended up going to Westchester University to play tennis and study kinesiology. It's a fancy word for study of the body, where I could have chosen teacher, fitness specialist, athletic trainer, exercise physiology. But after completing my student teaching, I was very lucky to get a job straight out of college in Moorestown teaching elementary phys ed, and that's where I still am 17 years later.
That's great. It's cool that you were able to play, a sport in college and get that college experience. And here you are, you're at Moorestown. Let's talk about, how you got started in coaching and what made you decide that you wanted to go to basketball. And you said it yourself, you played other sports coming up and it wasn't your main sport, but I guess you found that love and that connection when you came back. So what was the connection with basketball?
I've always just loved the game. I love being around it. I mean, I was cut my first 3 years in high school. Cut. I mean, and just love the game. My 3rd year, I asked to be the manager and do the book for our team at Sterling. I know it's odd. I just wanted to be around the game and learn. And when I got my teaching job at Moorestown, they needed a 7th grade middle school coach and an assistant to the 8th grade team. I signed up. I couldn't wait to learn. There was a lot of kids that went out. About 70 kids tried out for a 7th grade team. It was nerve-wracking trying to make cuts, but we figured it out. And my first year coaching, I coached some kids. Names were Bobby Falconiero, Jerry Wigsted, who was a big kid at Camden Catholic, Taylor Burke, who's a good player in Moorestown, and I met Bobby Falconero's father, Bob, Dr. Falconiero. And after a few years coaching Bobby, I had his younger son, Tommy, and Bob approached me one day and said, would you ever consider coming up and learning at the high school level, being that he was the head boys coach at Eustace? And I said, absolutely. I would love to learn at the next level. And I went to watch some of their games in person just as a fan, and then became a volunteer assistant the following year. So, yeah, learned a lot and continue to keep learning from him and from everybody else. I try to be a sponge from everybody because I think not having the basketball background of a Jackie Mulligan or a Ron Powell, all these coaches I hear on your interviews have these major basketball backgrounds, and I, as a player, I don't. And so I try to just absorb everything I can from even their interviews, just talking to them on the phone, through text messaging. Any film I see, I watch a lot of film of their games and try to pick up everything I can. So
yeah, that's fantastic. So how long did you stay as a boys assistant at Eustace?
So I was a volunteer my first year, and then I became the JV coach the following year. I was JV for 5 seasons, which is not the easiest job. It's fun because everyone, got to balance. You get 5 quarters for each player. Certain players on varsity, you don't know how many quarters the varsity coach is going to need them for. And he would say, play so-and-so for 2. And then the varsity game goes according to plan and they don't get in much. And, it's tough to keep everybody happy. But after that, I became Bob Falconero's head assistant at Eustace for 2 seasons. And then the unexpected came up. They said some people told me probably around this time of year, there's going to be a girls opening next year at Eustace. We think the girls coach is going to step down. And I thought, okay, that's great. And they said, well, would you consider coaching girls? I said, no way. I'm good. Thank you. And they said, no, we'll think about it. Go watch the games. They have a lot of talent. They're smart. They listen. Just tell me what you think. And so I said, okay. I went to a few games. I watched, and I started to believe what they were saying. And, they do listen well. They play smart. They played hard. And I thought, all right, I'll go for it. And I was lucky enough to land the job. And, I've been doing it ever since. I think it was one of the best decisions I ever made. It's amazing what you don't know and what happens in the future. But I love coaching the girls. I don't know if I'll ever go back to the boys. The girls are so much different in a good way. They are well-mannered, respectful. Not saying the boys are not, but it's just a different level with the girls. And I've enjoyed my 5 years so much with them.
That's unbelievable. So what was the team like before you took over? So as far as the girls side, so were they having success at that point, or this position opened up? So what were you walking into? What were your expectations?
I believe that they had a lot of talent. The year before I took over, they had a Division I player named, I believe her name is Alexis Santarelli, and she played at Lafayette for 3 years. Now she's at St. Joe's. They have a real good player named Elizabeth Radley, who played 4 years at Holy Family College. And they had another girl named Paulina Boyer, I believe, that played at Ursinus. They had plenty of talent. It's tough. It's just tough to put it all together sometimes. Everybody wants the ball, and I thought the things that I saw I could change and correct easily. They had, I believe, I think they were right around 500 last 2 seasons before I took over, 13 and 14-ish. I saw one of their playoff games. I thought there was a lot of talent. I just thought they struggled to put it all together. But I couldn't wait to take it over.
That's great. So let's get into your coaching philosophy. Then we can talk about the girls again. So, like, what do you really focus on being a head coach? Like, what's your philosophy? What's important to you?
Unselfishness. We want all the girls to think what's best for the team. If I go for this steal and leave my teammate in the dark, that's selfish defense. If I throw the ball one pass to the wing and the girl shoots it, well, the next time down they pass to the other side. What's that girl going to do? Well, she's going to shoot it right away again because she's going to think I'm never going to get the ball back, and that becomes contagious. So every little thing we do, I would like to be unselfish. I believe in ball movement. Last few years we've had 8 or 9 different leading scorers in games. It's not always the same person. I know this year we have Katie Kemper that sticks out a little more this year. She might lead in most of the games, but Katie still, even saying that about her, like she still is looking to get everyone involved first. And I'm just constantly preaching, it's not your shot, it's our shot. It's not, okay, I made the shot. Well, it's who set the screen, who made the right pass, who cut this way to drag, that help defender to that side. Just hard work, teamwork, and unselfishness. I think that goes a long way in helping our team achieve success.
So how would you describe yourself as a coach? Like, what's your coaching style? Are you the type of person that sits on the side, kind of like soaks it all in? Are you a marker? Or are you making in-game adjustments the whole time? What's your coaching style?
I would say it depends who you ask, but I would say definitely high energy.
Okay.
I've tried that thing where I've sat on the side. I've said to my assistants before games, joke around, hey, I'm going to sit in my seat for like 2 whole minutes this game before it starts. No, I can't do it. I'm mid-court to baseline. I'm just trying to help my team, especially on defense, talk here, help here, anything I can do to help my team. Last year, I think with 8 seniors, it was a little more trust. I didn't have to be as crazy with that stuff. But I think if I don't have the energy, I think it's, I don't know. That's just not my personality.
Okay.
Trying to change on the fly. Yeah, I'm trying to make adjustments, trying to learn as fast as I can. I think it helps them for sure. I mean, we get usually first half, our defense is usually really solid. And we get to the halftime, and I always say, okay, girls, you're down there now. You're far away from me. You're on the island. You have to talk now. I can't talk right next to you and say, you're in help 2 passes away, trap here. So they learn really quickly. But yeah, I'm high energy for sure.
That's fantastic. So what do you enjoy the most about coaching? So what, now that you've been coaching for a number of years, why do you come back every year?
I love being in the gym with the girls, just learning about them, establishing relationships, getting to know them as people. I know that's a common answer, but that's the absolute truth. They're great people. I mean, just little conversations before or after practice. Did you watch? What did you girls think of the Super Bowl halftime show? This little things here and there. How's your older sister? How's your little brother? What did your dad say about your performance on the live feed last night? Little things here and there, and I'm truly blessed with being at Eustace and being with such a great group every year. I mean, they're well mannered. Even when they disagree with you, they know how to do it in a very professional manner. I mean, I really think they're so different than a lot of the teams out there. But maybe it's just girls. I could be wrong, but they're very mature and they know how to give suggestions properly. They don't just, yell at you. They're really good like that.
That's great. So can you tell a little bit about like your program history since you've been there? So you take the team over 5 years ago. Why don't you talk about, how the team is transitioned over the last couple of years?
I came in, we had a lot of talent. Jenny Falconiero was a point guard, Coach Falconero's daughter. We had Megan McLaughlin, who was about a 6'3" center, and now she plays at New York University. Julia Raleigh, real athletic guard. This is my first year, and a real good shooter named Sammy DeBundo. And I think they were used to a lot of the old way, and they weren't. I think they were kind of blown away when the first few practices. Like, yeah, we're working hard. This is what we're doing. We're not here to, just have fun. You want to have fun. We got to work hard to earn it a little bit. And struggled early, and once they bought in, we started winning some games. Our first year we were 17-11. We won a playoff game on the road up at Notre Dame, and we ended up losing to Red Bank Catholic this second game, who was a monster powerhouse. They had us by 30 in the first quarter. But, yeah, I mean, they were awesome. Second year, we had transfer come in, end of the first year, but played the whole second year, was Katie McShay. Katie McShay was one of the best players in South Jersey. Did a really good job. We had our first 20-win season in some time. First time we had wins that year over all the division rivals. We had a win over Academy Catholic, got a win over Paul VI. And I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe that was the last time Cherokees had a home loss, was our Bishop Eustace team. Now, they might have lost one in the playoffs maybe to Toms River, but I always tell Coach Powell we were very lucky that day. But, it was a good game. It was a good matchup, and our girls, just came out on the right side of that game. The following year, third year, we shared the conference with Paul VI and came to Catholic, I believe. I think we each split with each other. That was the first time we shared a conference in I think since 2009. And we did the same thing last year with Paul VI. We split with Paul VI last year. He's very talented, as you know. And we had 8 seniors last year, which I'm extremely proud of that, because there were seniors that really understood their role, which is not easy in today's world. Like, I had a girl named Michelle Quinn, who was probably the second or last one to come off the bench. She was so smart. She did such an amazing job in practice, helping with girls that didn't know plays or younger girls. She would give suggestions. I would even ask her, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? She's like, I think we should do this more. I think we should do that more. And she thrived in her role. She was an absolute superstar in being that role player. And that was my role when I was a player. I was the last one off the bench and just wanted to help out. Michelle Quinn was great at that. And we had, we were very, very lucky that all the girls seemed to know their role and accepted it and kind of cheered for each other. That was real special. And that's why we won a lot of games last year, won a conference, and hopefully that transfers to, the younger players understanding that as we move along here.
Yeah, I mean, I love that team last year. It was they had good chemistry. And we talked about before, we started recording, you guys basically had Cherokee on the ropes, and it wasn't like the last 30 seconds. And I'm like, I was sitting there with Diana Tarian, because at that time my daughter was hurt. So I was sitting there talking to her like, oh my gosh, we're going to lose this game. This is really tough. And we're like really hanging on by the edge of our seats. And I think Alexa ended up going to the line, and she makes her free throws. And then somehow she got back on defense and she stole the ball. And I think that kind of sealed the game. But I mean, you played amazing. The girls were just phenomenal. I was like, man, I actually gained a lot of respect for Bishop Eustace that day, because they really hung in there. And I thought, man, for sure we were cooked. But sometimes the ball bounces your way, and it doesn't bounce your way, and it just changes things. But I mean, for the most part, I mean, that was a fun game. If anybody was at that game, that was a fun game, because you were just like, wow, you were just captivated the whole time, because it was exciting. A lot of great defense. The ball was moving. I mean, there was battles underneath the basket for rebounds. Everybody was really fighting. There was just an intense battle between the players, and that's the kind of game that you want to be in. To me, it was a playoff game. And
it was a great atmosphere that game.
Oh yeah, I mean, those are the types of games that I think prepare you for later in the season. So I think it was very helpful for both teams. I think Eustace did really well after that as well. But it was just one of those fun games. Like, I wish we could have games like that all the time. That was fantastic.
Likewise.
Let's talk about last year, because I thought it was kind of interesting that you did that tournament where you traveled down to Florida. Can you talk about that?
Sure. Our team has been traveling. We usually go to Florida every other year.
Okay.
The boys started doing that back in 2014, I believe. And the girls caught on 2 years later, and we've been doing it ever since. And it's just, it's Disney World, so it's great. It's great for team bonding. The girls get their a lot of freedom. It's a little. My first year we went to, what was it, 3 years ago. I was really nervous because I felt I needed to check in with the girls every 2 hours. Like, show me where you are. Tell me a picture. Where are you? Take a picture in front of the Epcot. Take a picture in front of this ride at Universe. Magic Kingdom or something. But it's a little nervous. But basketball wise, was really cool. We played. Let's see who we play. Team from Florida, team from Kentucky, team from Massachusetts. Really brought us together. We played some great basketball both years, and we won the tournament both our bracket both years. It's really fun. I mean, it's just fun to be in Disney, let alone you get to play basketball while you're there. I know some other teams have gone and had some different experiences, maybe been in the wrong bracket or had some tougher games or some games that they won by 30, 40 points. Obviously, it's tough to figure out the best competition. We've been lucky the last 2 times we've gone. The competition's been fairly good. And just I think we were in the right bracket and we played some good teams. We played a team from Alabama last year that already had 22 games, or like 16 or 17 games, because different state, different rules, and that was our 5th game of the year. So, but they, the coach, talking to the other coach before the game, he said, I watched you on film. You guys look good. You guys look tough. I think our girls are in trouble today. I'm thinking, you're 16-0 right now. But the coach, I think he understood it. He's like, we're in the Final Four of Alabama State every single year. Like, it's not very competitive. I think you're from South Jersey or near Philly, right? And he said, yeah, I'm sure it's a little tougher up there. Like, this guy knew what he was talking about. So, yeah, we went on. We got lucky. We won that game. It's a great trip, though. Everyone gets along really well. The parents, very lucky. They were very supportive of our team last year. I'm sure there's a lot of times where they disagree with what the coach is doing, but they were very supportive. They were very respectful. It was a great group of people the last 2 years. I was very lucky to have them.
Yeah, that's tough too, because you're giving up basically their holiday with their family, right? Because it's during the Christmas time, isn't it?
Oh, don't worry, they all come down. All the family come down. But it's interesting because like you get on the you have to take the same bus back to the hotel. So it's like you get on the bus right after a game, and the parents are there too. So it's like, all right, do I walk past the parent? Is so and so going to be mad about their kids' minutes? I thought that way my first time down Disney, and then the last time we're Disney. I mean, I'm getting past that point where I just don't really, doesn't matter much to me. We're just trying to win and get better.
Yeah, I think it's just an experience. I mean, that's to me, that going to Florida, having the kids travel, it gives them a taste of what it's going to be like if they decide to play at the next level, as far as college. So that's a nice experience about that. I mean, living in a hotel for a couple days, being with their friends, being able to juggle their time, being able to fit in, the fun, but not being distracted by what's going on and realizing that you're there to play basketball first, and then all the other stuff can happen once you're done. I think that's an important lesson too.
Well, it's one thing we do down there, and then some of the girls don't believe it's going to happen every year, and they always, we get to the airport or we get our bags after we arrive, and they say, "Are you really taking away cell phones every night?" I say, "Yes, we are." So I mean, we have a game at 9 a.m. the next day. We want you to get sleep. It's the right thing to do. And, keep, one of the assistants and I have half cell phones in our rooms and keep the chargers on. And knock on the door the next day. It's odd, trying to wake up, 12 teenage girls is interesting. Like, come on, we have a game. Let's get going. Breakfast in 20 minutes. It's a lot of fun though. I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
So will you plan to go next year?
I think we're going to go again. Actually, I sent an email to all the parents, and I think that's the biggest problem with this is trying to figure out who's going to go. So you always figure out your varsity roster well in advance. So I sent to the 5 or 6 girls I know who were coming back the following year. I sent them emails and would you be interested? And I got a good response. So I think we're going to go.
That's awesome.
As long as everything clears up.
No, that's the one thing you just don't know. Like, what's the restrictions going to be? How settled the country's going to be as far as this COVID situation. It throws a wrench through a lot of things, and it makes it very difficult to plan. Because I feel like a trip like that, you have to plan well in advance. It's not like you can plan 2 weeks before and say, hey, we're going to Florida. It's going to take time and a lot of energy.
Yeah, it's as of right now, we're going to go, but we'll just have to keep an eye on it, see what happens. I mean, I felt terrible for you guys and a lot of other teams last year. I mean, I know we talked before about playing Franklin in the state championship, and I feel for all teams that couldn't do that. You guys deserve a chance at that. I feel for the coaches and the parents.
Oh yeah, I mean, hopefully, like I said, hopefully next year is a whole nother ball game, and we're back to the way we're used to playing basketball, and everybody's doesn't have to worry anymore. Fans can come in, and we can really just keep going back to what we need to be, and just really be normal more than anything. So, what were your expectations, last year, going into the season, and how do you plan to prepare for a team, coming into the to the preseason?
You got to repeat that question.
Yeah, so I know sometimes I talk really fast. So basically, what were your goals and expectations last year? So you have
last year.
Yeah, last year. So what were you thinking, going into the season? You had 8 seniors. What did you have in mind for your team? What were your goals for the team?
Well, we had a lot of goals. One goal, we wanted to win the conference. We wanted to win the SJIBT, which we didn't. We wanted to make it further in the playoffs than we have, and our playoffs are a little different than everybody's. Got to play a lot of the North Jersey teams, a lot of the North Shore teams. It's very difficult. But I think they were reasonable goals. I don't think they were unrealistic. SJIBT, I mean, we ran into a red-hot Clearview team that shot the ball the best I saw them shoot, and I watched a bunch of their films last year, and I was blown away by how well they shot the ball. They played really well. I give a lot of credit to Coach Heitman and their players. We did win the conference. We split with Paul 6. I was a little surprised we split with them. I think Paul 6 had a lot of talent. I know Hannah Hidalgo was battling a little bit of an injury the first time we played. But, those were our expectations. A small expectation of mine was just to make sure all the seniors knew their roles. And we're content with that. And that they showed up every day in practice, and they played hard, and they pushed each other, and they were respectful towards each other. And they were. They were great. I was very happy with them.
That's fantastic.
It's a lot of fun just being around them.
Yeah, it's nice. So can you think about, maybe a game that stood out in your mind last year that might have been special to you, that was, something that you were really, maybe could define your team from last year and that you could share with us?
Game that stood out, I would say the Paul 6 game at home stood out a lot. I talk to my wife before every game. She sees me watching a lot of film, and she's just like, she knows nothing about basketball. But he said, I think you're down. I think you're underdog by about 15-17 tomorrow against Paul 6. I said, oh, really? That many? She said, yeah. She said, okay, all right, no problem. And we played a great team game. We had the right rotations in. We were very lucky. They missed a lot of shots. The ball was just but not bouncing their way, and we pulled out at home, and it was just a great win. It was a win that some people didn't expect, and we were thrilled to have that one. I mean, last year sticks out more. Some of the losses stick out. The Cherokee game sticks out. Washington Township game at third place sticks out a lot. But hey, live and learn. That's the way it goes sometimes, and hopefully we can all learn and get better from it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I had high expectations, after the season ended. I think I had maybe denial, thinking, this will be fine, it'll be gone, and here we are. Everything's different. I mean, they pushed the season back, the 15 games, and even you and I were talking. It's like you have this condensed amount of time, and you're trying to fill everything, and you get a team drop here and there, and now you're trying to fill your schedule and find opponents that would be a good matchup, because you're just trying to make the best out of your game. So how are things different for you as far as preparing your team for the season? And how are things different compared to the previous years because of COVID and all that?
Trying to figure out taking a lot less time with certain drills and certain offenses, not putting in as many plays. I mean, we talk to anybody who's been through our program, they're going to say, "Oh my God, coach has 100 different sets." We don't have that many, but definitely a lot less this year, and just spending more time. Like, definitely, we have to try to combine everything. You can't anything you skip, you can see the results the next game. Oh, we forgot to do our closeout box out drill yesterday. Well, our closeouts and box out drills were terrible in the last game, so just condensing them all into a smaller period of time, of finding time to do everything. We have to make sure we do specific drills every day to stay sharp. But the younger girls, the inexperienced girls, I should say, have really learned quickly. I keep telling them, I see some frustration. I keep telling them, I say, "Hey," I said, "you had one scrimmage. You've had a week or two less practice time. And some of you are first-time varsity players." I said, "You're doing fine. Stay with it. Stay patient. It's a little thing here and there. It's not rocket science. It's basketball." So I'm just trying to figure out what's most important to do every day, and work on that. And just probably a shorter amount of time. If I would do offense for 30 to 40 minutes, well, now it's 20 to 30. That's all, just a little bit shorter. So it's starting to come together well, though.
Yeah, I hear you on that. So, this year, what are some of your goals, knowing that you're not going to really have, excuse me, the playoffs or championships or conference tournaments or county tournaments? So how are you, you positioning your team as far as what you want them to accomplish this year?
So far we're accomplishing the goal that I have is consistent improvement every day. I'm seeing, like, from right now, was it February 15th to, back in January 11th, it completely different already. Just in the way a girl catches the ball, pivots, and makes, a ball fake instead of a bounce pass, as opposed to catching the ball and throwing a little lob that gets deflected. I mean, we were so lucky to get Cherokee on opening night at Cherokee. So, but they learn a lot. That we've watched more film this year than we have in years past, because I want them to learn faster. And some of them don't believe me, but I think Coach Powell or Coach Corrado said that's why we have the truth room. And yeah, I mean, I'll just pause and say, "Hey, what's that?" They say, yeah, okay, you're right, Coach. I said, okay. They're learning very quickly. As far as wins and losses, I mean, I would say, aside from PVI this year, PVI is extremely talented and they're playing very well as a team. I would say our goal is to be competitive in every single game. I thought we hung in there with Cherokee for a half. Midway through the third, it was 7. And then Cherokee won a little run, get up to 15, 17, 19, and it was over. But I thought our young girls did a good job, handling the pressure. We're low on turnovers early in the game. And but they learn from it. We've watched the Cherokee game together. The girls are learning. We got some good tough games coming up this week. We got 3 Olympic Conference games coming up this week, and no easy games. So very happy so far with our girls.
Yeah, I mean, all things considering, I do see improvement every week. I mean, they're really just dialed into the practices. So I mean, what else can you do? If you're giving your best product, if you're giving your best effort every night, you're hoping that result, is a win. If not, I mean, it's something that you can see the film, go back and improve, and then work on for the next game. So who are you playing this week?
We got Seneca on Tuesday. It's their it's only their second game, and I just finished before we started talking. I just watched the RV Seneca game, and they're very scrappy. Coach Creel does a great job of getting those kids to play hard. She gets the most out of them. Then we have Camden Catholic on Thursday. Camden Catholic's got the 2 transfers from Clearview, and we'll be ready. We'll definitely be ready. And we have Washington Township on Saturday, who I know they're a little down this year, but I'll never ever take them lightly. I know Coach Natal, he's a great coach, and should be a battle.
Yeah, it sounds like you got 3 great games. Just take one game at a time, and then there you go. So this year, what are your good? So if you're talking to your team, here you are in your team huddle, and you're saying, look, we need to do these things in order for us to be competitive in every game, in order for us to be successful. So what are some key things that you want your girls to work on in order to be in the game?
Well, I tell them all the time that this is the quietest team I've ever had. They need to talk constant. I tell them, you need to talk more all the time. I mean, offense, defense, transition, call for the outlet. I got next pass. I'm in help. Pick left. They are, and they'll talk, but they'll talk. They'll say pick left about this loud. Pick left. Well, no one can hear that. So they are so quiet. And I said, when you talk, it helps everybody on your team. So talking first and foremost, especially on defense. I always tell them, look, they're going to have nights where the ball doesn't go in. Great defense will keep you in every game and give you a shot. And defense doesn't stop when the ball goes up. That's second. We need to rebound. Have to rebound the ball. With the exception of Ashley Weldy in the middle, we're a little undersized this year, but we got some tough juniors. They're boxing out there. They're buying in. I'm seeing definitely improvement across the board. It's just got to be consistent. I mean, the other day I didn't want to, but the first possession of the game, we get in the huddle. I said, okay, all 5 girls got to find somebody, box out. We need the rebound, and we can go. Second possession of the game against Cherry East, I took out one of my starters. Felt like I had to make a point. And she comes over. I said, we did, right? She said, yep. I said, okay, go back in. Went back in. Everybody's boxing out like crazy, and we're on our way. But team defense, boxing out, patience on offense. Obviously, you want to run. We don't have it in transition. We don't have the numbers. Back it out. Run our stuff. All the little things right. Ball fakes, setting good screens. I always tell them, I said, why are we setting screens on air? Go find somebody and set a screen on them. So when they get called for a moving screen early in the game, that doesn't bother me. I want to see that they're actually trying. It's just I'm just harping little things. And when I write keys to the game, every game we play on a board, I'll write talk is always 1. All 5, boxing, B&R, boxing rebound is 2, and patience on O. There's almost 3 of the 5 I always have. So I'm sure a lot of coaches are similar in that way, but yeah, got to keep doing it till they eat, sleep, and breathe it.
No, that's it. Now I'm going to get away from this a little bit. I have to ask you about your family. So you said you have a 7-month-old?
I do.
How are you juggling being a teacher, being a coach, and then now you have the 7-month-old? Because I remember I have 4 kids, and they don't sleep through the night most of the time. You're getting up at 3 a.m. You're just dog tired. How are you juggling all that?
We are blessed with a great sleeper.
Oh, you're lucky.
I know. I hear you. She's been wonderful sleeping. Like she's napping right now. She's been napping for 2 hours. It's unbelievable. My wife is a vice principal at Sterling High School. She, thank God for her. I mean, she allows me to do this. She enjoys it. She was our manager the last year. She wanted to keep the book. She enjoys it so much. She can't do it this year because of the baby. But you know, my mother and my wife's mother are both retired. They help out a lot, which we're very lucky to have them around. Our son, to our biggest surprise, 10-year-old son, he has been unbelievable with our baby daughter. He's great. He loves her. We were nervous. Is there going to be a jealousy factor there with a new baby? And he's been nothing but great with her. But my wife and the moms have really helped with the baby, and I can't wait. Like another few years when she can run across the court after a game and say, "Oh, good game, Daddy." That'll be wonderful. So
that's fantastic. Now, your son, does he come to every game?
My son, I don't think likes basketball at all. He's like, I mean, he'll say to me every other day, "Dad, why do you coach basketball all the time? Can't you stop coaching basketball?" I said, "Bud, I mean, I coach his soccer team, I coach his baseball team, and he just, he just doesn't like basketball that much. He's a Lego engineering kid, and which is perfectly fine with me." He was at Garaguso Karate for a long time. Sure, if we were closer to Medford, we'd be at Amerikick, your place. I think that's
your. It's just funny because it's like you have these two different personalities. With our son, we call him. We tell everybody he's gonna be good at esports because all he ever does is play Minecraft, build Legos. He's 6. He doesn't really have any interest in playing any sports yet. So we're like, "Oh, buddy, you're going to be good at esports." And he has no idea what esports is. So he just smiles about it, but it's our running joke in the family. But, it's just nice to get your family there and have them involved. And, even if they're just there at the gym with you, knowing that your family's around and you can look up in the stands and see your kids supporting you and doing what you're doing. I mean, that's a tough thing. And then against balancing, that family is really, really challenging at this point. But I mean, you're doing it, and I mean, all these other coaches have done it. So it's just a matter of, I guess, being organized, and I guess the support is really important.
My son's great. Like he'll come to the games, he'll sit in the stands and either play with Legos or he'll draw pictures.
Yeah.
And one year at the SJIBT, I think it was 2 seasons ago, and we're playing, I don't know, maybe it might have been RV in the semifinals, and at halftime buzzer goes off. He comes behind me, he's tapping me on the shoulder. He says, "Dad, I made $8." I said, "What'd you do?" He goes, "I sold my drawings to some of your parents." He's drawing things and saying, "Who wants to buy my drawings?" To all these different parents. And I said, "All right, no more. Like, please, just sit back here. Don't do this anymore." But he goes to the beat of his own drum. That's for sure.
I'm telling you, it had to have been your son. So I came to the St. Thomas Aquinas game, playoff game, and we were sitting behind your bench, and I was talking to Ava Swallow before the game, and there was a boy there, and he gave my son toys. And I'm telling you, it was probably yours. That's why I'm asking now. Like, I think it was probably your son, because now that you're describing him, he gave him some little superhero toys. And my son's like, "Hey, Dad, look, I got these toys." I'm like, "Where'd you steal them from?" He's like, "Oh, this boy came up and he gave me toys." I'm like, "You better give them back. I don't want his parents to get mad." He's like, "No, he said I could have them." I'm like, "All right, buddy."
Yeah, I mean, if there's another kid in the stands around his age that wants to play with those things, I mean, that's he'll come home and say, "Dad, that was the best basketball game ever." I say, "Yeah, who won?" He doesn't know. I mean, he just met somebody, we're playing figurines, But yeah, I like having him there. It's great to have him there because I think my wife will prompt him and say, "Go up to Dad and just say, 'It's okay, tough one, you'll get him next time.' Or, 'Great job, Dad. You guys look really good.'" But I would tell him.
No, that's awesome.
It's a lot of fun, though.
Let's transition a bit because we're getting towards the end here. So let's talk about South Jersey girls basketball And like, what are some things you think that we can do to improve, viewers, getting fans, and to just grow the game a little bit? So what are your ideas? What are your thoughts?
I would love to see more tournaments like the one at RV last year. The one I think it was the Shore versus the South.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. Who'd you guys
That was
play?
awesome. That was huge. We need more teams that are willing to travel north. Like certain coaches, like Corrado, it doesn't matter. He's always going up north. He's not afraid to play anybody. It's going to help his team in the long run. That's good. I mean, last year we played Rumson. We played Cardinal O'Hara from Philly. We put some tough teams on our schedule. It was great. I think more tournaments like that. The SJIBT is a great tournament because all the papers come down, a lot of exposure. We just need more things like that. I love that, PVI is playing Vienna later today.
Yeah.
Playing Stewart. I mean, we need games like that. Just to show that we're, I think a lot of people, I talk to people who are from up north and they say, no, North Jersey and South Jersey are two different states. I said, no. I said, I don't believe that. But, the papers up there, they favor their teams and some down here favor ours. And it's tough when you see the NJ.com rankings and there's only 2 or 3 teams ranked in South Jersey when, I mean, in my personal opinion, I know a handful of teams that could easily be ranked in the top 20. They can hang with those teams that are ranked 15 through 20 easily.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to see how, PVI can do with Vienna today. As good as they are, I think it'll be hopefully I'm right. I think it'll be a little closer than people think it's going to be.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. And like that's going to be put South Jersey on the map, actually. If they can just give them a good game, whether they win or lose, I don't think it's going to matter. People are going to really start to respect South Jersey girls basketball. And I think that tournament that was at RV last year, I mean, this would have been the second year. And I know talking to Corrado, he had some really great matchups. I mean, that's a good experience for our girls here in South Jersey to play against teams. First of all, they would never play against. And second of all, you're playing against teams that are ranked in the top 20 of New Jersey. It gives you a kind of like a little measuring stick of where your program stands. But I'll tell you, every single game last year was tight. There was no blowouts in that tournament. I mean, maybe when they got to the last, 2-3 minutes, the game opened up. But I mean, every game was a solid game. I mean, it was very exciting. I sat there the whole day and I was like, this is great. I mean, for whatever it costs, $8, $10 to get in. I mean, if you're watching basketball all day long, I mean, they had a snack bar. I mean, I'm hanging. This was great. This was phenomenal. So yeah, I think more events like that would be great. Traveling, maybe getting people to go, maybe having a home and away series eventually, like one year, if you can make a partnership with, another team, that would be fantastic. Like maybe, 1 year you guys can play against the team from up north. The next year they can come down just to kind of get that relationship going. So, we just have to figure out how we can, I think, network more, like you said, with more of the Central Jersey and the North Jersey teams and come up with some kind of partnerships, maybe like a so-called sister school. You would come up and create a little mini rivalry with them, somebody that matches up with you, school-wise as far as size, the size of the school, meaning maybe that that has a decent program that can match up with you guys, really well. That would make a good game. It would be worth it for them to travel. It would be worth it for you to travel, and it would help everybody, I think.
The boys used to do something. I'm not sure if they're still doing it. It used to be down at St. Augustine Prep. It was the Coaches Cancer tournament. I think Holy Cross did one for a few years, but it was before it was Coaches versus Cancer. I think it was, I'm not positive, the Olympic versus Cape Challenge. Okay. Do a conference challenge like that. I think any of those tournaments would be great. I think just more attention to South Jersey. I would love if it was mandatory. That was like, okay, South has to play one from Central, one from North every year as an out of conference. Then you're forced. Okay, great. That's some attention right there. But yeah, I hope it grows. What you're doing right here, this is great. I've loved listening to the other coaches speak. Some of the players too. I love hearing the players. I know they're nervous.
Yeah.
I talked to Caitlin Dutter last year. She said, I'm doing an interview. And I said, Kate, you're fine. Just enjoy it, have fun, just be yourself. And
Yeah.
I Kemper this year, I said, would you be interested in something like that? She's like, no, you talk. I said, okay, it's easy, it's okay. But yeah, I love what you're doing. I'm glad. Thank you for putting your time out there for everybody doing
Yeah,
this.
this is just fun for me. Like, we talked earlier, this is my girls' passions. They love basketball. And I think, it gives me a way to be involved without being involved, like I don't have to hound them. I can see what's going on around. I can make friends, and I can fill up my time with, I call this like my little hobby, and kind of be out of their hair. And that's what I'm really trying to do. I'm trying to like let them do their thing. Not just, whatever they earn, it's on their own. But to me, I want to help grow the game. I think that the one thing that got me was, there was a couple big games last year, and I looked around the gym and there was hardly anybody. This is in the beginning or middle of the season. I'm like, there's only parents here. There's nobody else even watching the girls. And I think it's a shame, because I think that they work just as hard as the boys. And, they really deserve to have people there cheering them on, giving them the atmosphere of a real basketball game. I mean, to get that high school experience, I think that's so important. And I think, unfortunately, for some reason, people don't know about the game or aren't fans of the game. So I'm hoping that, by them learning about the coaches, the players I'm going to pick up after the season, just because I don't want to be a distraction to them. I think that, they should focus on their seasons. When the season's over, then we can talk. I don't want them to have to think about, if I'm going to be on this podcast, I don't want it to be a distraction. So that was something I decided. Plus, there's just so many coaches out there that I know I'm going to miss a lot, and I don't want anybody to be slighted, but I'm just going to try and hit as many as I can. And from all over. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, I want to try to get, some from more down south area. Like, I want to try and get Steve DePatry. I want to talk about his career and his 500 wins. So I have some other coaches in mind too, but, I just, again, I want to just see the game grow. I just think it's important. And now everything's shrinking. The media budget's shrinking. People aren't covering the games like they used to. It's not in the papers, as much as it used to be. I mean, Inquirer basically doesn't really have anything anymore, things that were our go-to years ago. So I think, here's our chance, here's our opportunity to try and make it on our own. Like, let's make our own, noise down here. And if it means that, we have to go on social media more and support each team, then we need to do that. If it means that we need to hop on the live streams and promote the live streams, I mean, I think to me, that's going to be the biggest game changer, is the live streams. Is if we can keep the live streams going. I mean, everybody already invested in the cameras anyway.
Sure.
At this point, I think it's worth it. I think you'll get more fans, you get more support for your teams through parents in the community, because they're watching your kids. They can see your kids. I mean, if there's more opportunities for people to see the games, and now when they come to the games, they know the players. So we now have to figure out ways to get people to understand the teams more. And I think once that happens, it's just going to catch like wildfire. And I think we need more, some more coaching and more opportunities at the youth levels.
Sure.
I think there's some towns that don't even field travel teams. There's some towns that really don't have a travel program. They only have, still they have co-ed. Some of them only have rec. I mean, the schools I find that have the most successful high school programs are the ones that have really strong programs that are below the rec and the travel programs. Like, I'm going to give you one, for example, Haddonfield. I remember when we were playing against them when we were little kids, when our girls were little kids, they would field 3 teams for Gabby's age group. So they're all sophomores now. They would field 3 teams in the very, very beginning. So that's a lot of kids.
Absolutely.
There's some towns that can't even get 3 kids to come out.
That's amazing. I envy that about the schools. I heard some coaches talking about their feeder programs. And I said, "Wow, that's great." I don't. It's so different at Eustace. It's just completely different. I think it's great. I think that they're involved, and the high school kids have to do camps with them, and they come to the games. Like, I mean, that little Washington Township gym, they have all the 7th and 8th graders packed in there for the games, and I've seen some there for Shawnee as well, and it's great. I definitely envy that for the other programs. I wish we had something like that. But
so I guess you have to just create something now. You've been there 5 years. Now you got to figure out a way to get more youth into your gym. I don't know, clinics, just youth night, you know, any alumni, kids come, whatever, you know. I would love to see more alumni be recognized at basketball games. To me, and this is for across
That's good.
the board, you know, like across the board. It would be great. I mean, because think about it. I mean, imagine if you had Sterling, you could have a whole night of, you could fill a whole gym just of alumni for the amount of kids, the amount of girls that have played at Sterling have gone on to do other things. I mean,
Sure.
that would be phenomenal on a number of other schools. But I think what happens is once the alumni graduate, there's a disconnect. You know, they get on with their life. You know, they start their career. We got to pull them back, I think, a little bit, because eventually their kids are going to be playing anyway. So you might as well get them connected. So
I agree. Yeah, I just wrote that down. I love that. No, I'm always looking for new ideas. So that's a good one right there, I believe.
Yeah, you know, we'll see. I mean, that's the thing too, is like, you know, you just got to figure out who's got the ideas and just take their idea and see if you can kind of, you know, make it work for your program and for your school. You know, I've done that so much in my life where somebody comes up with an idea and says, you know what, I like that. And I just try to incorporate with what I do. And you know, I think everybody benefits from that. And, you know, we all just share.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, it sounds good, man. I really enjoyed talking to you and learning more about your program. And, you know, I do wish you good luck. You got 3 games this week. You know, enjoy it. I guess, you know, take each game one at a time. But, man, just have fun with your girls because it's coming quick. I mean, it's already, what, 15th? We only have a couple more weeks left, 3 weeks left, and we're done.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But, you know, we're blessed. Like, we're blessed to play, just to play. I mean, you know, like I said earlier, I mean, Seneca, it's their second game. And, you know, it's unfortunate they were out for a little bit with COVID issues. But in the grand scheme of things, we're just blessed just to play. So.
Yeah, definitely. Well, great. Well, thank you for being a guest and hope to talk to you soon.
Thanks for all you're doing, Mike. I appreciate it.
All right, you're welcome. Have a great day.
You too, bud.